go, recording now. Today we are going to take a look at buying a used vehicle. And this is a little more complicated than buying a new vehicle. So we're on lesson 7, so if you guys could find lesson 7 in your notes. We've got a couple things to read here. A new vehicle depreciates so much in the first year, many people prefer to buy a 1 or 2 year old vehicle. Again, people, you saw the video where the video that I showed you with people who try to help you manage your money. Some people would say 1 or 2 year old vehicle is not enough. If you really want to avoid the depreciation blues, look for things that are 5 years old or older. A used vehicle is difficult to find, as you do not want to buy a lemon, meaning a vehicle with a lot of mechanical issues. I'll say problems. Okay, so when you buy a used vehicle from a dealership, you pay PST and GST. When you buy privately, you only pay the PST. And the amount of PST charged is based on the book value of the vehicle. The name of the book is called, well, the nickname for it is the Blue Book. And the book value is based on industry reported book value. And there's actually a private company that the government trusts well enough that that's what they base their taxes on. The name of the company is called Kelly. So very often you hear it called the Kelly Blue Book. You can look them up online. Easy to tell what a vehicle should be worth in the Kelly Blue Book value. And okay, one more thing. Oh, I kind of skipped over this. A lien is a legal claim that someone or something has on the property of another person until a debt has been paid back. Obviously, if you go to buy a vehicle, somebody's selling a vehicle, you, I guess, would assume that they own it. Otherwise, why are they trying to sell it? But what if they were trying to pull a fast one? What if, in fact, you were buying that vehicle and they actually didn't really own it? They still were making payments on it, and they were being dishonest and didn't really own the vehicle that they're trying to sell you. Guess what? They're breaking the law. They can go to jail for that. That is fraud. But it can be your problem too, because if you pay them for a vehicle, your responsibility is to make sure it doesn't already have liens on it, meaning that somebody still owes money on it. That can mean two things. It can mean that they're still making payments on it because they had a loan to buy it, or they did already own it and they used it in collateral for another loan. So your responsibility as the person buying the car is to make sure that there are no liens on the car that you are buying. And if you don't do that, and there happens to be a lien on it, you've got problems. So on the formula sheet, we will not expect you to memorize all of this. I don't have all this memorized. When you buy a new vehicle, you pay both PST and GST. When you buy used from a car dealership, you pay PST and GST. When you buy from somebody selling it privately, you pay PST on whatever is bigger, the book value or the purchase price. Actually, I'm going to go back up to the notes here. The amount of PST charged is based on the book value of the vehicle. I should put comma, or the purchase price. And whichever is higher. There is an exception to this, then there's exceptions to a couple of the other things on this chart. We'll talk about those in a minute. So when you're buying privately, it's the PSD calculated on whatever's bigger, the book value or the purchase price, no GST. Then you have to have a used vehicle safetied. In other words, I'll put this in a note. All used vehicles must pass a safety inspection before they can be sold or registered. There is an exception to this. You can buy a vehicle that you have no intention of putting on the road right away, or maybe even at all. You can buy a scrapped vehicle for parts. In which case, you don't even have to pay the PSD on the book value. You can just pay the PSD on the purchase price, even though it's going to be definitely lower than the book value, because you're buying a junked vehicle that has no hope of ever running again, because you're buying it just for parts, or you're buying it because you are going to put a lot of personal work into it yourself and then fix it up until it is capable of being sold, or sorry, capable of being safetied. Now, once you get the safety check, if it turns out there are things that need fixing, of course, you'd have to pay for that. You'd pay for the materials and the labor. So that's the parts and the labor. And of course, you pay both taxes on that. Notice the safety inspection itself does not have PST, but it does have GST. And like I said, when you buy a vehicle from a private seller, you don't have to worry about this for a dealership, because obviously anything on the dealership is owned by the dealership. But when you buy from a private seller, you have to pay for a lien search, and you don't pay any tax on a lien search since it's a government thing, right? You're paying the government to check to make sure that there are no outstanding loans or liens on the vehicle. Okay, let's do some calculating. Here's the steps. And once again, I told you, I'm pretty sure I've told both classes this, but I'll say it again. When we test this stuff next week, we will definitely let you use your book. You can use your notes. So you don't have to sit there and start writing all these steps out onto a study sheet. You can just use your notebook, okay? Because there's a lot of stuff like this. Too much writing. We'll just make this one an open book test, okay? Okay, here's the steps. Step 1, you start with the cost of the vehicle. Step 2, will a diagnostic test or any repairs need to be done on the vehicle? Okay, so add these costs. So before you even decide to buy it, you can pay a mechanic, a licensed mechanic, to do a diagnostic test and see if there's any repairs that need doing. Then add the PST of the book value of the vehicle. And again, or the purchase price if it is higher. Almost nobody, it's very rare that somebody's going to buy a vehicle for more than the Blue Book value. It's rare. It does happen, I guess, if you had a really, really option heavy, somebody's put a lot of extra work into this vehicle, so they're selling it for more than the Blue Book's worth because it has, you know, a really amazing stereo and fancy rims. Oh, and a spoiler. Don't forget the spoiler. And a very cool paint job, and I don't know. I honestly can't, I almost can't imagine anybody ever paying more than the Blue Book value for a used vehicle, but I guess it's possible. Most of the time, you're just going to go with the Blue Book value because it'll be lower, or because it'll be higher. And of course, government wants its money, so it wants it calculated on the high one. Safety check is we're gonna say that safety checks are $40. They're probably more than that nowadays. This is older notes, but you do pay GST on whatever the safety check is. Lien search, again, we're going to say $26 for these examples. Again, on the assignment, it might be more, it might be less. And then find your total from there. So here we go. Gordy lives in Flin Flon, Manitoba. He wants to buy a used car from a private owner who's asking $1,995 for the car. Gordy needs to do a lien search, which will cost him $26. He's not a mechanic, so he decides to have a $30 diagnostic test done. The mechanic tells him that the car needs some engine work that will cost $650. When he gets the car licensed, he must pay PST on the blue book value of the car. The book value is $2,500. See, it's almost always more than what you pay. He will also have to take the car for a safety inspection. This will be an added $40 plus GST. How much will this car cost Gordy? Okay, so let's do this in steps. Step one, start with the cost of the vehicle. So the cost of the vehicle is $1,995 plus we are paying the PST on the, okay, now this is, we'll do this, we're actually going to do step 3 first. The PST on the book value. So we're not finding 7% of this number. We're finding 7% of the book value, which is $2,500. So there's my price plus tax, right, PST. If this was bought at a dealership, we'd have to do 12%. Okay, so let's get that number. I've already punched buttons on this. I know this is $2,170. All right, what else are we paying? We are paying the $30 diagnostic test and the $650 of work that the test says that needs to be done. And those things are subjected to both taxes. So $30 plus $650, and we're paying both taxes on that. So why don't we times it by 112%, right? That's GST and PST on that. So 30 plus 650 is 680. 680 times 1.12 is going to be $761.60. So there, we took care of those two things. Now we're going to go get the car licensed. Safety inspection before we get it licensed. So $40 for the safety, but you only pay GST on that. Now remember, GST is 5%, so that's 40 times 1.05. Get it? So that's just GST. GST only on that one, which is $42. And then before we can get it licensed, before we can make this sale final, we have to make sure nobody owes any money on this vehicle. So $26 lien search, and again, go back and look and it'll see, oh yeah, the lien search doesn't have any tax. So if you're wondering, why did you save that one? Why didn't you just put that lien search into this number or put it up with this number? Well, you can't, because this one doesn't have any taxes on it. So it's just $26, and this is again for the lien search. And this one's for the safety. And this is for the diagnostic plus repairs. Okay, so that's doesn't have any tax on it, so it's just 26 bucks. So you'll notice I put all these in a column because now we add them all together. So our total price, how much is this vehicle costing? I added those four numbers up and I got $2,999.60. And that's how these things go. You have to read all of the information, figure out which number is which, go to that little chart, figure out which tax goes on which number. And other than that, if you can read and follow instructions, all you're doing is multiplying and adding. It's not like we started with trigonometry, you know, sines and cosines and stuff. This is This is a lot more basic than that. The tough part's the reading. All right, example 2. The second vehicle Rhoda is considering purchasing is a used automobile from a private owner. She negotiates a selling price for $5,000 for the automobile. Her additional costs is she gets a diagnostic test for $30. It doesn't say that she has any work done, so it must have been the diagnostic must have been good. The lien search is $26, the safety inspection is $40, and the blue book for the vehicle is $5,600. Calculate the total price Rhoda will pay for the automobile. Okay, so $5,000 is the price. Plus I pay tax, just the PSD, remind you, on how much it's worth. So there's my price plus tax, and that gets me a number. It's $5,392. I already multiplied that out. Then, which of these numbers do I have to worry about taxes on? The diagnostic test gets both taxes. So $30 times both taxes, 12%, and that's $336. Then the safety inspection only gets GST, so we'll put the safety inspection next, and it gets GST, so that's $42. And then lastly, the lien search doesn't get any tax, so we just add on $26. Add it all together, and this person is paying $5,796 to buy this vehicle. And there we go. There's our 2 examples. So it's your turn to try the sum. Okay, hang on, I'm going to stop my video now.